back with a treat, and I gave a little hint about this one in my last video. So if you didn't see that video, you want to go link through and see it because I am in love with that recipe and I'll be making it again and again. And I hinted at the end of that video that I'd be making these next. I showed the recipe. Not that you'd be able to read it that quickly. Raw carrot cake bars. Don't they look good? Oh, they look so good. So this is from an ebook called Simply Sweet by Amanda Sick. And this ebook is in the Vegan Health Bundle. And all week I'm featuring recipes from the bundle that aren't mine because a lot of you already have my stuff, even though there's a couple of newer ebooks in there and a Fascia Flow program. But I wanted to show you some goodies from other content creators and contributors to the bundle. And I saw the cover of this ebook, which, I mean, everything looks amazing there, but the carrot cake bars caught my eye. And sometimes with raw recipes for desserts, there's a lot of steps. There seems to be sometimes, like if it's a cake, there's a number of layers and a lot of steps. And these are nice. It's just 2 layers, so pretty manageable. And also raw recipes are wonderful because you don't have to bake them. You know, you can make them anytime, really. They're a nice treat when it's hot outside. And also it's like there's a simplicity to what is in it in the ingredients. So let's get started with these. I have the ingredients partially in the food processor, actually just the carrots. So the recipe calls for grated carrots. And to save a step, I just quickly chopped the carrots, made a bigger measure of the carrots. It's a cup of grated carrots. So I did a very generous cup of sliced carrots and then popped it in the food processor because it's going to be processed anyhow. And grated carrots are going to pack down more than sliced or chunky carrots. So that's a little tip there. So that's what I did, but you can grate them. And now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. This is my Ninja processor, and I like this one. I have 2 processors, and I like the Ninja for things using dates, like power balls or raw squares, because I always find my other processor stops on me with the dates. It's like it doesn't want to process them. And actually, having said that, I'm going to add the dates first and give them a whiz because they're a little bit dry. They're not super moist dates. So let's do that first. So yeah, that's good. I just like to get the dates moving and incorporated because when they're really dry, it takes a little more processing. Plus, unless you cut them in half, sometimes you get the odd pitted dates. That drives me crazy because then you got to get in there and find it. And this particular processor has a double blade, so you don't want to be sticking your hand in there. It's not at all safe to do that. So walnuts are in there. And I think if you wanted to sub something for walnuts, because I don't always love walnuts or they don't love me, I would do a sub of pecans and pumpkin seeds, half and half. That would be a really nice sub. And the spices, the only thing I changed here with the spices is I reduced the ginger just a little bit because I know, like, I want my youngest to eat these and she doesn't love ginger. So I just reduced it a little. Okay, so I'm just going to scrape that down. You have to have like a little sniff in between. See how it's going. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm just going to give this another whir. Get all the bits of carrot that aren't as nicely processed down and give that another go. Yeah, that looks about right. So you want it to be sticky, right? You want it to be able to hold together, have a little stickiness that it will hold when pressed. I'm just going to give it one more go. So this is the blade I'm talking about. You really have to be careful with this guy. I did cut my finger once on that. So you always want to like take it out by the tip and just, yeah, be really careful. Because I was used to my other processor and I reached down for the blade and forgot it was double bladed like that. Anyhow, we're going to transfer this to a pan now. And this is my tip for when you want to line a square pan with parchment. You get your sheet, make it about, a rectangle to cover. and then cut in at each corner. So cut in, turn the pan, cut in, turn the pan. You got it. There. And then it will fit nicely into the pan. The corners fold over one another. And I didn't cut it super cleanly on the edges there, but you can see then it fits nicely into the pan when you do that. So that's my tip for fitting the parchment. And she didn't say what size pan to use. I think she may have used a loaf pan. She says a small baking, or maybe it is this size. She says a small, let me just read, small baking dish lined with parchment. So maybe it is this size. At first I thought, looking at the quantity of ingredients, that it might be a loaf pan. But yeah, I think this is the size. There we go. So we're just gonna press that into the pan. It smells so good. Wow, and a little messy. So the other thing I sometimes do when it's sticky like this is I take a bit of the parchment and then I use that to press down the mixture because it's not as sticky as the spatula, and work it down that way. So that's an option. It's getting there. Yeah, so what a really great, genius way to get some good whole foods ingredients in a little treat. We've got dates, we've got walnuts, which again, you could use, I feel like pecans and pumpkin seeds would be really good as a sub, and carrots. Isn't that kind of magical? Oh, it's really smoothing out nicely, actually, at this point. Really nicely. The other thing I thought would be really good in this would be to pulse in a few not carrots, pardon me, pulse in a few raisins if you like them, because you know how carrot cake sometimes has raisins in it, or a little dried pineapple, because sometimes you have pineapple in carrot cake. Look at how nice that's smoothed out. Okay, we're starting with the frosting. Really simple. We have soaked cashews in here. I like to soak cashew in batches. I've talked about that in my books, especially in Drina's Kind Kitchen. So I'll usually do like 3 or 4 cups of cashews at once, soak them, drain, and then put them in the freezer in smaller amounts, smaller batches. You can refrigerate as well, but they only keep for about 4 to 5 days. So keep that in mind. So we have some soaked cashews, and then what ingredients to make it like a cream cheese frosting. I've done this with recipes myself and it works a charm. I'm not going to tell you exactly what's in there, but it works so well. And the only other thing I added here, actually added to the base, a pinch of salt and a tiny bit of salt in the frosting, but I also added some lemon zest because I love lemon zest. You guys know, if you know my recipes, you know I love a little lemon zest. It always really pops the flavor beautifully. And that's another thing I tend to do in a little batch. I'll take a bunch of lemons if I'm juicing them and then zest them first. Get the zest, put it in the freezer, then it's always there for you. You want to zest them first. It's too hard to zest after you juice them. So this goes into a high-speed blender and we're just gonna blitz this. I'll probably have to scrape it down, so it might take a moment or two. Okay, we're done. I'm just having a sniff again. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. I love the simplicity of lemon juice and lemon zest with the cashews. I just kind of revealed a little bit about the topping. This alone smells amazing. I know it's going to be delicious. You can make little cheesecake pots with it. And I'll confess that I made 1.5 of the batch. So I made a little more than one batch because I wanted to have a little extra to maybe do little cheesecake pots. I thought that would be fun. So I'm just spreading this on. Now this has to refrigerate to set up the frosting. I'm really not going to be patient enough to do that. I will refrigerate them, but for the video, I'm not going to be patient enough. Let's see. It actually is to refrigerate them And then they can be kept, pardon me. It actually says to freeze them. And then they can be kept in the fridge after, or the freezer, after you cut into bars. I'm gonna try and freeze them for as long as I can and come back. Okay, I put them in the freezer for 10 minutes, so they're not set up, but I figured I'd at least clear away, empty the dishwasher, and just cut a little square. They're not set, okay? So please keep that in mind. You're gonna want to freeze these, at least refrigerate them. But let's do our best to try and get a little snippet of what they look like and without disturbing it too much. I'm just going to take a tiny square. Look, there we go. Yum. Mmm. 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 Those are really good. And the coconut I put in, it's not a prominent flavor at all. It just kind of adds to the texture more than anything. Mm. Really, really delicious. And I know they're going to be even better once they set because the frosting will have a little more bite to it. See, it's quite soft now. Mm. Mm -mm -mm. Mm. Flavor happy dance. So, raw carrot cake bars from Simply Sweet ebook by Amanda Sick in the Vegan Health Bundle. Go get your copy and check out my other videos. I am featuring sweets and savory from the bundle. Okay, so link to the playlist and get some more. We'll see you soon. What's next? You have to wait and find out.